What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum in this video. It is the 26th day of October, and here we are sitting at about $4,071 right now, 5 hours, 23 minutes left in the day. We're up, and left in the week too, by the way. We're up 2% on the week. I think we're up more like 3% on the day. And what a miraculous recovery we've had this week and the past few weeks, right? Definitely showing that this is a bottoming zone. You know, you get a bunch of wicks like this, typically you expect to move higher, right? Like we got a bunch of wicks up here, we moved lower. We had a bunch of wicks down here, and we moved higher. We had a bunch of wicks down here, and we moved higher, right? None of these movements really continued past these points. We are expecting continuation past this point here, but that's not the point, okay? Looking at this, since we're on the weekly, why not? Let's look at the weekly time frame. The RSI has come down a little bit, right? You're overbought, which is nice, but you've cooled way the hell down. The nice thing here is that your price has not really cooled down. You're literally right now at the same price that you were back here when your RSI was in the overbought zone, okay? The last time that we were this low in the RSI, our price was all the way down here. This was effectively the last time that we were at the same levels in the RSI that we are now. We were here in our price action right before this next phase up. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw something of a similar magnitude come into play here. You know, that right there literally puts us right below $8,000, and you guys know that that's the target area, right? 8 to 9K is kind of the next target area. If you don't know that, let me tell you, right? If you didn't know, now you know. Looking at this on the stochastics, we're right at the 50 as well. This is actually a perfect area to bounce from right here if you're coming from the top side, right? Coming from the top side here, you bounce just above the 50. That happens sometimes. And you got overbought again, miraculous. Here you bounce just below the 50, just above it there. Right at the 50 here. You know, it happens. This is good. And it's typically a mark of continuation. Continuing what? The upward movement here, right? I think that we're in a 5-legged pattern. I think that we have one more move to go after this here. You know, like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I say one more move to go, I don't think this is the end of the cycle. I just think that's one more move within this phase. We might have a long consolidation phase, and then, you know, going into the April, May, June, somewhere in that kind of time frame in 2026, I think we have our cycle finale blow off top finish. But I digress. That's a different theory. Looking at this on the MACD, we have freshly crossed red. So with last week's close, we got a red reading. This week's close, we are also progressing further down, but that's okay. Sometimes you get these, let's see, these false crosses. Do we have it? Like here, right? You had this false cross, but really it was just a continuation of a move to come, right? Let's actually see if we can observe this. Yeah. We're here, you're moving up. You're moving up from March until really August for months at a time. You consolidated. You had your red, and once you actually flipped red was when you started to grow again, right? It was like a false signal. And those false signals, they do happen. And really, again, it's a mark of continuation. I wouldn't be surprised if we had that here because, again, even though we're flipping red, we're not really getting any kind of significant drawback. Sorry, we're just moving sideways. In fact, we're consolidating so well, man. We're consolidating right here at this prior area of substantial resistance. We're holding up right above it. Yes, we're wicking below it, but we close above it and or at it every single week, expressing the respect that we're showing here. And the desire, I think, from the price to move higher is what we're seeing here. From a high to a low, look at that. I mean, you broke right above your 100, pulled back to your 886. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I've been doing technical analysis for 10 years now, you guys. And whenever I see this, it's not always, but with like a 90% chance of happening. It's like a 90%, not guarantee, but likelihood, probability. When you move above your 100 level like this, and you check back the 886 to find support, and you typically just move right up to the golden ratio. So $8,000 is the target from here. And I would expect that we see that target come to fruition by the end of November. If it's not by the end of November, then maybe sometime in December we're up there, but I would think it's going to be by the end of November. I think we're going to make a spectacular movement here. And certainly, if we're not at $8,000 by the end of November, I think we would be there in December, perhaps something between 10K and 8K. 10K for psychological resistance, and, you know, 10.8K here at the 1,886. 8K for the golden ratio significance here. If we take last cycle's high to the bear market low, I wonder, are there any other significant areas that we should pay attention to? You know, 7,700, but yeah, 10K. 10K seems like an appropriate area. So 10K beyond just the psychological thing, you know, we've got the $10,000 at the 1414 here. We've got the $10,800 at the 1886 here, something like that by the end of the year. That's kind of more what I'm expecting, but 8,000 by the end of this month of November. It's not November yet, but by the end of that next month, that's what I would expect. If we're not at $8,000 by the end of November, that's fine. It's not like a time requirement. Maybe we make most of this move and then it's December 1st and we're at $7,000 or $6,000. You know what I mean? We're going to be well underway is all I'm trying to say. I don't want to get hung up on this thought. Okay. I'd like to look at the short-term stuff. I'd like to shift gears entirely now and look at the short-term stuff and see if this move is happening right now, right before our eyes, or do we have a little bit more consolidation before that happens? I don't know. I haven't looked at the charts yet, right? This is all just raw right off the top of my head. I don't have this. It's not scripted, right? We're just figuring this out. You know what I can say is looking at this on a 1 hour time frame, it seems as though we're doing things differently, right? Right? Here, rejected down. Here, rejected down. Here, you're kind of doing a little dance, right? You're consolidating at the same areas that you've rejected down before. Third time's the charm, right? Once, twice, third time. I don't know. It looks like it's different behavior. Therefore, we might expect different results as well, right? Here you moved up with no volume at all. Here you moved up with tremendous volume. And here you're somewhere in between. This one's too short. This one's too tall. But this one's just right. I don't know. Maybe that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting here. 1 hour time frame. Look at that. That's beautiful. We love it whenever the RSI bounces off the overbought zone. Even if it's this kind of reaction, whatever, we love it anytime. That's a great reaction there. 17 minutes left. You got to assume that we are going to close the screen here. That's nice. Stochastics look good as well. Bullish as hell. And the MACD, of course, is bullish as well. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here, just getting into the overbought zone. One would think this move continues, right? Let's go back in time here. Okay, so it's been some time since we've been overbought. This doesn't count. This is a rejection. Okay, that doesn't count. It's been some time. If we go back over here, it had been some time that we'd been overbought here, right? We hadn't been overbought in quite some time. So let's just see what the price did here when we finally got overbought for the first time in a little while. Just like here, this is the first time we're getting overbought in a little while. That doesn't count, right? That's a rejection. It doesn't count. So here, we were in the process of a move higher, an overall move higher, right? From a low. Let's actually draw this definitively from this low to this high, okay? And in that move, by the time the RSI got overbought, we were right here. We were right there in this overall stick. So we were about 25% of the way through, right? Maybe 30% at best. We had a lot more movement to go. Did we stop here? Did we consolidate, right? We did. We consolidated for a little bit. We stopped progressing higher after we got overbought a little bit right there. But we still progressed higher in the days and weeks to come. And the real thought that I want to drive home beyond all that is just, if you look at the low to the high line, and you look at the percentage of this line that was done, that you were at by the time you were overbought, look at how much more you had to go afterwards. That's the point. You weren't even close to halfway through the move, right? Same kind of thought here. Maybe this move starts over here. Perhaps this move is, whoop, that's not what I thought I was doing. I'm sorry. Perhaps this move is this big, or it's this big, or it's this big, or whatever it is, but you're likely not even halfway through your move. And with that, you know, I mean, if we were to make it halfway, that's about like halfway through this stick overall. I think it's safe to say we are right now actively with Ethereum in the process of moving above $4,500. Right? Can we all agree on that? I think right now we are actively involved in a move that it will take us above $4,500. Okay. That's the expectation that we're trying to outline here, because again, we've just gotten overbought for the first time in a little while. And typically that produces more movement to come. The MACD is just crossed above the zero, also produces, look at that, same kind of area situation over here, also produces the idea that we're going to grow more. And the stochastics, they're bullish. So that's nice. That's a little cherry on top. All in all, guys, I think that we are just getting started here. I don't think, I mean, you just flipped green here on the daily MACD. You've got a little bit of bullish divergence. Stochastics look pointed up. The RSI looks pointed up. Overall, I really do think we're at a low point here. And between now and the end of the month, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did push higher to about 44, 4,600, something like that. Perhaps we consolidate here or there. I wouldn't be surprised if we started off November moving down, consolidating, but then going into the middle of the month, going into the end of the month, we should see some rather nice expansion coming into play, taking us, I would believe, at least above 6,000 by the end of the month, if not as high as $8,000 by the end of the month. Perhaps 8K and beyond is reserved for December, but we'll know when we get there, right? We'll update you as the price continues to move. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, hit the like button. I was going to say leave a like, hit the comments. Leave a comment, hit the like button. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to leave. I almost had this spectacular finish, but I kind of, stumbled there at the end there. So I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye, my friends.